agriculture news and interviews.
IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Plus, hear all of your favorite agriculture farm shows, including RFD Illinois, AgriTalk, RFD Today, and the Closing Market Report.
IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
It's agriculture grown locally, streamed live, and archived to hear anytime.
IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
A service of the Miller Media Group.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today, State Representative Dr. Bill Hauter. Dr. Hauter, how are you today?
Good morning, Seth. I really like to do this. This is good. I like it that it's regular and we can talk about anything. I wish people could hear what we talk about before we go live. We have some good conversations.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Let's start with first of all, I think the big news out of our area, and I don't know how much you were involved or but our Clinton Power Station got word about a month ago now, maybe not even that long, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, that of course Meta is really making an investment. They are going to be the purchaser of a large amount of energy from our Clinton Power Station, a new reactor going online soon for that. It's going to be a huge investment back into our community. What do you know about that, Dr. Hauter?
Well, I know probably as much as you know. I think they purchased the credits, which is it's a good thing. It's a good thing. However, it's going to guarantee that plant's viability for many, many more years. And we were talking about nuclear and how important it is to the grid, and how important, I wish it was more important to the Illinois grid, and that we had more of the plants like Clinton. But it is a really good thing that they partnered up, and we're going to see this more and more stuff with all the data centers and all the AI that require large amounts of electricity, as we stupidly shut down more and more of our hydrocarbon-based energy sources like coal plants and even natural gas plants, and I think a really misguided attempt to be totally net neutral, or whatever, the energy and zero carbon emissions by 2030 to at some percentage, I forget the percentage, but 2050 to be zero carbon emissions, I think is laughable.
Well, and so to that end, we are feeling the effects of that policy, Dr. Hauter. You can't talk to somebody right now that's not saying, my energy bills, whether it's at my home or at my business, my energy bills are insane, the highest I've ever paid. You cannot go anywhere and not hear that.
It's so frustrating because it's such an unforced error by Illinois. We were a net exporter of electricity for so many years. And then in a really bad decision by a CEJA bill, to create more green energy, more, and I don't have anything against green energy per se, but it just has to be part of the energy supply that we need. Mm-hmm. And it is definitely more expensive. It's unreliable. And it's not plentiful. So we are exchanging, we have huge coal stores in Illinois, and we're shutting down coal plants. Why? Because they have to be shuttered in the next decade or so anyway. And so why would you put any money into your coal plant when you know it has to be shut down in the next decade or so? So we're seeing continued decrease in energy supply from coal, especially, but from natural gas as well. And we need to increase those supplies, but what we really need to increase is nuclear energy, which is plentiful, cheap, and totally reliable. It's just incredible to me that we do not have more nuclear energy in the state. We have a lot. Actually, we're doing pretty well as far as comparison to other states, but we need more, and we decreased we eliminated the moratorium on small nuclear power plants, but we need to do it on large scale power plants like Clinton.
What so that could take a while, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a
The
6-month thing. You put up a nuclear reactor, whether it's small, it's large. That is not a small project. What do you do in the meantime? How do you combat this in the meantime, whether it's from a personal standpoint, a business standpoint, and then obviously for you, a legislative standpoint?
Well, we got, like I said, it's an unforced error. It took years and years for us to get in this position where we had a huge rate increase, and then at the same time, simultaneously with that, we had a huge demand increase because of the hot weather this summer, and it caused unbelievably high, skyrocketing energy prices, and many calls and emails to my office to what they can do, because the one word they used over and over again, Seth, is unsustainable. How can I run a small business when my energy prices just went up by 30, 40, 50%, really month to month? And, so we're looking at ways we can help them. And I wish I could say that, there's an overnight solution, but it took us years and decades to get into this mess, shutting down supply, increasing demand with these AI data centers and other places. But this is unsustainable, but it's going to take us years and even decades to get out of it. But we have to make smart decisions. So many times that we have such weak leadership in this state, and they continue to make very, very poor, short-sighted decisions. You just look around and just see people and leadership and states and governments that are making good decisions about their energy supply, about their tax policy, about keeping people in their state. And we continue to lose people to other states. And one of the reasons is the high and unsustainable energy prices. I don't have great solutions. I have the ideas that we continue to increase supply, whatever that may be, whatever source that may be, as we have an increase in demand.
I wonder part of what's going to change for this, or is going to really change anything, not just energy, but just the bad policy going on in Illinois, is political pressure. Is Governor Pritzker, our Chicago lawmakers? I mean, let's be honest, this is driven by an ideology out of the Chicago area. So are any of those people feeling pressure? Is the cost of the of electric bills and those things out of the Chicago area enough to put political pressure on these people?
Wow, that's a loaded question. If you're looking at politics, we continue to make so this country is very, very divided. You can see that, how partisan everything is. Where we used to make collaborative decisions that were good decisions, now we make decisions based on your team versus the other team. And so right now their team is clean energy and reducing hydrocarbons and CO2 emissions. That's and so they won't really they're not considering other options or collaborating with our party. And so we just continue to see they continue to make bad decisions, but there seems to be no punishment for it, because they have their team and they're going to defend their decisions no matter what, even if they're bad decisions.
Mm-hmm. And that goes for the electric too,
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. And we see it in other areas like crime and illegal immigration and being a sanctuary state, and decision after decision that doesn't seem to serve the voters and citizens of the state, let alone this country. But we don't see them paying a price for it. I think there will be a time, and there's always swings in how people think. There's always ups and downs, and right now we're at a point where it doesn't seem like the electorate, the voters seem to want to make a change. But like I said, it's always a pendulum, and I think that people are voting one way, and it seems like they're voting one way. We're as Republicans are in the super minority, and we have very little power or ability to change anything that's going on. But people continue to vote with their feet the other way, and they're leaving this state, and they're going to red states. So that's another side effect of these bad decisions.
Very good. Well, Dr. Hauter, it doesn't sound like there's a lot of promise or hope on this issue in the short term. It kind of sounds like we're stuck with these high energy bills for a while.
As far as I can see, I mean, there's different proposals that we have, but I don't know if they're going to get a lot of hearing. One of them is by Senator Turner, my colleague, and my senator for my district. She has one that would take away the moratorium on large-scale nuclear projects. So, there's different ideas out there, but who knows if they're even going to get a hearing.
Sure. Well, on that note, Dr. Hauter, let's break. Come back with some more. State Representative Dr. Bill Hauter, our guest on the Zoom today. More to come with him on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Shane Steinberg here from Highway 51 Exchange, your equipment rental headquarters, south of Clinton on US 51. Check our banner ad on DeWittDailyNews.com to book online today and pick up tomorrow. Highway 51 Exchange.
Longview Community Bank is now open in Clinton, investing in rural Illinois. I'm Vice President Nate Sams. Stop by for a visit or to find out how we provide real local banking. Click our banner ad at the top of the local news page on DeWittDailyNews.com.
At Hickory Point Garden Homes in Forsyth, you get the independent lifestyle you want without the huge price tag. It's half the cost of most independent living options. No stairs, no worries. All duplexes have an attached garage. They're accessible, safe, and private. Say goodbye to maintenance and hello to freedom, because now you can go do whatever you want to do. If you're 55 or better, it's time to simplify your life. Hickory Point Garden Homes in Forsyth. Independent living done right. Find out more by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today, State Representative Dr. Bill Hauter. And Dr. Hauter, I know next month you'll be back in Springfield for veto session. Hearing anything about veto session at this point? Anything coming up that's caught your ear or your eye? How about that?
Well, I'm always a little bit leery of any time we're in session and what may come up in a very brief veto session that will get passed with very little oversight or input from the voters. So I'm open to anything may happen, but I think we're probably going to deal with this mass transit issue. There's $700 million in the red in the mass transit in Chicago. We have different ideas on how to deal with that. You may have heard of one that they floated that was very unpopular, and that was a $1.50 delivery tax to pay for Chicago mass transit on every package delivered, every delivery of food, anything would get a $1.50 surcharge. It didn't make any sense. It was poorly written, poorly thought out, but in the end, they didn't pass it. But they may take another bite at it. They're too creative when it comes up ways to spend other people's money and get other people's money away from them.
When it comes to veto session, is it what, 2 weeks out there? Is that right?
2 weeks, yeah, we do.
Yeah. When is that? October what?
October, mid-October, 15th, I think it starts.
Okay.
Go 2 weeks,
Yeah.
different days.
Yeah. Yeah. How about education things? I know there were some proposals education-wise that some of our superintendents around the area were watching. I know they put the cell phone ban in place. Although I've come to learn that one was largely kind of ambiguous in its language and really left a lot of that up to local districts to decide how they wanted to implement it. But it's a press release politics thing. That's something they did. How about that?
Let me ask you, what do you think about that, Seth?
Well, to be honest, I am for it, but
Yeah.
I think it should be up to the district. I mean, for example, and you may be aware of this, Clinton Junior High was one of the first, in fact, to do that in Illinois. They put that in place, and it worked really well. And then I think it trickled a little bit beyond Clinton over the next few years. It's one of those things. It's a good idea, but should the legislature really be in the business of telling districts to do this if it's not something they feel they need in their buildings?
You should run for state rep. That's a good.
No.
That's exactly what I think too. I think it's a good idea. It's probably wise to do. I'm all for local control, whether it be when we talked about a little bit about COVID. When we talk about different curriculum, especially sex ed and different issues, I just think that local school boards know their students and their schools and the culture of their community so much better than the state does.
It makes me, I probably shouldn't say this, but it makes me laugh, Dr. Hauter, that Springfield is hell-bent on telling schools how to educate kids, and yet you have pockets of Illinois that cannot even take care of the basics when it comes to educating kids.
It's another thing that is so absolutely frustrating when you see that they're spending in some schools, districts in Chicago, they're spending up to $30,000 a student, and they're still not being educated. They're still not. Huge percentages aren't passing proficiency tests. And when you look at 30 schools in Illinois have 0% that are proficient in reading and math.
And they're graduating those kids. They're sending them on.
Yep. And we continue to see a decrease in student enrollment and an exponential increase in costs per student. So and expenditures just in general, not per capita either. So, it's what a deal, Seth. What a deal. Costs go up and outcomes go down, but they keep getting pay increases and better pensions for worse and worse results. It's I've never seen anything like it. It's a great business model for them, but not for the taxpayers, the students, and the parents.
The worst part of the whole thing, Dr. Hauter, is writ large, we're failing society, because if you don't get these kids by the time, they're 9 or 10, if they can't read and do basic math by the time they're 9 or 10, they're not going to. Like, it's a data point. It is science. These are proven facts. If you don't get them by that point, you are failing them as a person.
Yep. Absolutely. And then you think about this, Seth. Every big problem is usually multifactorial, right? There's different reasons why. And so I do blame the schools and how they're educating somewhat. But we also have to look at why this is happening. And we see this mostly happening in single parent families, kids with one parent, and homes that are very, very broken. Yeah. And so we're really getting, oftentimes broken children into these schools, and it's a very difficult process to, when you're collaborating with parents and there's not parents there or they're disengaged, to continue to educate them. So that's
another thing. That's another thing that is proven. When you have parents at home invested in their kids' education, they do better. When you have 2-parent homes, they do better. Like, all of these are data points we know, and we just ignore like it's I don't even know it. We just ignore it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, I just would say that we don't know, we haven't forgotten how to educate children, is what I'm saying. It's that we are getting children that are so behind and they're so broken that the education of those children is just extremely, extremely hard. So we see this in so many ways, with crime, with social isolation, with education. It starts in the family. It starts with parents. And really, I'd like to say it starts with fathers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I was just going to say, it's like we are completely undoing the fabric of our society that has held things together that we know are instrumental in a functional society that educates our kids, that produces, good citizens, good people. We are just undoing all of it, and I don't know what the end game is, Dr. Hauter. How about your perspective on that?
Well, what you just said, 100%. But that's the problem. What's the solution? And I'll give you my solution. It's God. It's getting back to duty. If you have a child, you have a duty to that child, and there's a lot of things that we've created in our culture that you're an individual. You can do whatever you want, and
there are no rules. There are no rules.
There's no rules. It's your truth.
It's your truth. Yes.
Happy, and we need to get back to, duty, and that's a really loaded word, but it combines perseverance and
responsibility.
Exactly. Responsibility and all those things in it. And really a foundation, in my opinion, I don't like to use the word religion, but is a foundation of biblical values.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, on that note, Dr. Hauter, I hate to do this to you, my friend. I got to let you go, unfortunately. Let's maybe carry on that conversation next time. State Representative Dr. Bill Hauter on the phone or on the Zoom with us here this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton.
WHOW.
Thanks again, Seth.